All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Crypto News and Investigative Reports. Glad that you're taking an opportunity to join us today. The big news today is Brad Garlinghouse sitting down with the IMF, November 12, 2018, Team Ripple. Says the headline is Blockchain and the Digital Asset Used in the ASEAN. CEO Brad Garlinghouse in convo with IMF's Ross at I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. At Singapore's FinTech Festival, November 12, 2018. And it says blockchain and banks. And it shows Brad Garlinghouse's picture. It's Brad Garlinghouse, Chief Executive Officer of Ripple, sitting down with Ross, the Deputy General Counsel of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. This is the big news today. A lot of people are buzzing. This is buzzing today because it shows Brad Garlinghouse sitting down with the IMF. And it's really, to me, something that was always going to happen. I knew this was going to happen, and I made some videos about this 4-5 months ago. I've always felt that for XRP to be a global digital asset to be used as the only single global digital asset, they would have to sit down, they would have to work with the IMF. I've always said that they would all have to be on the same page, the IMF and the digital asset XRP, the company Ripple. And so it says Brad Garlinghouse sat down with the IMF Deputy General Counsel Ross for a fireside chat on Monday afternoon at the Singapore's FinTech Festival. They engaged in a far-reaching dialogue on the opportunities blockchain and the digital asset technology presents for financial institutions in the ASEAN, given as the region's unique regulatory framework. It says both affirmed that this game-changing technology will change the world of global payments as we know it today. We've captured some key highlights from their conversation below. There is one thing about this meeting that is obviously missing to me, and this is why I made this video today, is because these two men sitting down and talking, this man right here works with the special drawing rights, the SDRs. This guy works with the SDRs, okay? And the question is, what's going to happen with the SDRs? The special drawing rights. That's really the most important thing with the IMF. And that's something that I've always talked about, the IMF and the SDRs and the SDR basket. And so as we kind of went through some of the questions and answers, what does fintech mean to the IMF? What's the IMF interest in it? I mean, that was one of the questions. You got responses. One of the best paragraphs in this is right here. It says several countries have contributed to this, including Singapore, Thailand, and the Philippines. In particular, Thailand has introduced a framework that balances consumer protection with innovation. Great. It legalizes several digital assets, including XRP. Great. And provides clear and explicit guidelines for outside blockchain companies to operate. That's great. But what this is actually, like I said, and there's a few more, an overview of kind of their conversation, but nothing specifically about this right here. Will XRP become the first digital asset to be added to the SDR's basket? And if you look at this, I have a question mark. I tweeted this out about 4 or 5 months ago because this is always going to be the big question. This is what they call the SDR basket. And they have, of the G20, they have the top 5 currencies. I think China's been added into here. They have the top 5 currencies, the U.S. dollar, the yuan, the yen, the euro, and they need to figure out will XRP become the first digital asset added to the SDRs basket, which are the special drawing rights. I did a whole video on this a while back. And so I went back to look at some of my old videos, and man, I was very at the bottom here. Nobody was looking at my videos, and I felt like all I was doing was conspiracies. And I felt like since nobody was watching, nobody was checking out any of my videos, I felt like I was talking about something that was far-fetched. But here's that video right here. This was, I only got 252 views. It was 4 months ago. Will XRP SDR be the SDR's basket? I have a question mark there because I don't know. I still don't know today. But regarding the IMF, I did a video. I only got 77 views on it 4 months ago. I'm kind of embarrassed to even go back to these, but it says how to understand Ripple, XRP, and the big three. The big three was the International Monetary Fund, Federal Reserve, central banks, and the World Bank. Here's another one, the connection between Ripple, XRP, and the International Monetary Fund. I only got 194 views. It was 4 months ago. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I've always been talking about the IMF. Here's another one, Crypto World Support for Ripple, XRP, IMF, World Bank, Central Bank, Federal Reserve. And Chris Larson, he was the executive chairman, Ripple, working with the IMF. And I show that as well. The how-to of central banks, cryptocurrency, XRP, and the International Monetary Fund. I already talked about this, and will the XRP equal the special drawing rights? I talked about that. Here's another one. Central banks, right here. Going global, Ripple, XRP, working with the IMF, the World Bank, and the Central Bank. I only got 378 views. That was 4 months ago. So for 4 months, for three months ago, that was all I was talking about was this thing right here. I was talking about this right here, the International Monetary Fund and Ripple. And like I said, what got, when I saw this news today, and this broke today, that they were on stage together, I felt like it finally happened, and people now are finally paying attention to it. And there's also, if you go to, and I'll leave this in the link below, there's also the video, Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse and the IMF's Ross, the future of international payments. Right now has 996 views. I'm pretty sure it's going to go up way past that. But that is the video to their conversation for blockchain and banks. So this is uploaded on YouTube. It came out a few hours ago, so you might want to go. Well, actually, you definitely want to go and watch it. It's only 33 minutes, and it's 33 minutes and 44 seconds long, so you want to go back and watch that. But like I said, to wrap this up, to me, ladies and gentlemen, it's not really big news. What this does for me, for Crypto News and Investigative Reports, it validates, like I said, some of our past videos. This is kind of what brought me into this space, knowing that the IMF and Ripple would have to get together and get on the same page, along with the World Bank and the central banks. I don't know if I still have the picture up of the central banks. Let me see if I do. Yeah, here it is right here. This picture right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a picture of the central banks. These are the governors of the central bank. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jerome Powell right here sitting next to Christine, which is over the International Monetary Fund. And this was the third meeting of the finance ministers of the central bank's governors. And I did a whole video saying that all of these people met in July, and they're trying to get on the same page to figure out what in the world that they are going to do. The IMF, the central banks, the World Bank, they all get together to figure out how they're going to bring this whole thing together for mass adoption. Like I said, that was one of my videos a long time ago. I didn't get very many views on that either. It's right here. Here it is. I only got 510 views 2 months ago about that particular thing. So I'm going to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. This, you want to go back and watch the Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and IMF. You want to watch their conversation. But what's missing, the reason why I'm making this video is because what's missing is this right here, the special drawing rights. That's what's missing in their conversation. We want to know. We want to know what's going to happen with that, because you're not going to get that's a problem that has to be fixed. In other words, I'll say it like that, because I'm not really sure what's going to happen with it either. But that's what's missing in this conversation that these two men had today, is the special drawing rights. What's going to happen between blockchain and banks and the IMF having the special drawing rights and Ripple having the digital asset XRP. All right, until the next time, I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe, hit the button to subscribe. Also hit the bell so you can get an alert every time we put a video up. And once again, just to recap, Brad Garlinghouse sitting down with the IMF. They're finally having conversation. I'm sure they've had conversations way before this right here, because they got to figure out what in the world they're going to do with the special drawing rights. Will XRP become the first digital asset added to the SDR basket, or what are these 5 countries going to do about the SDR, special drawing rights? All right, good talking to you folks. We'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you for watching.